Why, baseball gods? Why are you doing this to the Boston Red Sox?
It's simple, Corbin. We hate you guys. Ha 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 ha.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. I don't know where to go on this one. Do you guys really want a recap of this Yankees series? Because I really don't want to rewatch this nightmare, and I don't really think you guys are going to want to either. So that's why I'm not going to focus on stuff that happened in this series. We're going to talk about some things for sure, because it's going to be important to what this video is about. But instead, we are going to mainly focus on where the Red Sox go from here. They got torched against Tampa. They got torched against New York. And now they're headed to an AllStar break with a lot of uncertainty following this team, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what is going to happen now that the Red Sox have reached this point in their season. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button on this video, as it helps it out a ton. And if you want to do me a favor, share with a friend or family member who loves the Red Sox as much as you do. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Let's start with the major things that happened in this Yankees series, because it is going to be important when we're talking about where the Red Sox go next. And the first thing we're going to talk about is Chris Sale's injury. You all knew this was going to be the first thing we were talking about. Poor Chris Sale came back and was finally healthy and felt good and really did well against the Tampa Bay Rays, only to come into this Yankees series for one inning and get smoked in the hand with a 106-mile-an-hour line drive. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll probably put it on the screen now. It is pretty graphic, and immediately Chris Sale knew it was broken. I think everyone knew it was broken, so by the time that the news came out after the game that it was officially broken, no one was surprised. Unfortunately, what this means is one of two things: either Chris Sale doesn't come back until the very end of this year, or he's out for the rest of the year. Either way, this is a huge blow to a Red Sox team who was banking on the return of Chris Sale. You look at our rotation right now, and it's mostly minor league guys. We've had so many injuries to this rotation. Getting Chris Sale back and having him pitch the way he did in Tampa would have been huge for this team. So unfortunately, that is not going to happen. And before you guys run to the comment section to call him made of glass or talk about how this dude's just injury prone or that we need to get rid of him and all this stuff, right? Let's just avoid that topic for today. Let's talk instead about how it's going to impact the Boston Red Sox, as opposed to how Chris Sale is a terrible player in person and all this crazy stuff, right? This could have happened to anybody. Anybody. It just happened to happen to Chris Sale, and that is wildly unfortunate, yes, but it does not mean that he's injury prone. So please, let's just focus on the impact it has on the Red Sox. The second thing we need to talk about is that the offense was essentially quiet in this series. Yes, you got game one, but even winning that game in game one, you had to win off of a passed ball as opposed to out hitting the New York Yankees. The only person to hit consistently against the New York Yankees in this series was Rafael Devers, who had a 2-run home run in game one and a home run in game two. And the fact that the Red Sox had no hitting in this series could be a key indicator as to where the Red Sox are going after the All-Star break. So let's talk about it. In my mind, there are two scenarios that happen once the Red Sox come back from this All-Star break. Pieces don't seem to get put back together. With Chris Sale's injury, the team feels a little bit demoralized, and it ends up being the nail in the coffin. They can only take so many blows in 1 year. They've been mentally shut down time and time again, and this was the final straw. Both the front office and the players have decided that maybe 2022 isn't our year, and free agent players start focusing on what could be next for them. Players who are locked in for a little bit start focusing on 2023, and the front office just sort of lets this team ride it out into the sunset. Maybe they finish in fourth, maybe they finish in fifth, and they just can't seem to claw their way back into a playoff spot, and that's it for the 2022 season. Also, what could happen in this same scenario is that if the Red Sox come out flat the first couple of weeks after the All-Star break, you're probably looking at, instead of filling these massive gaps that the Red Sox have right now that are just tearing them apart, they are going to try and recuperate some of their losses. That means trading away key free agents. No one is safe in this scenario. We've seen how the Red Sox have handled big free agents in the past. We're talking about Mookie, we're talking about John Lester. These sort of guys who they don't really want to pay, so they're going to try and trade away and get as much value as they can back for them. Again, nobody is safe. We're talking guys like Christian Vasquez, Nate Eovaldi, JD Martinez, a whole host of bullpen arms, a whole host of these other utility guys. Christian Arroyo is an option. Kike Hernandez is an option. And of course, Xander Bogaerts is an option. Now, while Xander is the only one that I just listed that has a no trade clause, let's be honest with ourselves here. If the Red Sox come to Xander Bogaerts and they say, hey, listen, we don't want to pay you. We don't think that you are part of the future of this Red Sox team. What are the chances that Xander Bogaerts says, no, I want to enforce my trade clause. I want to finish out this year with the team that simply doesn't want me? Probably pretty low. Now, this scenario is my biggest fear. I know everyone has their opinion on Xander Bogaerts, but the stuff he's doing this year on the field, especially on defense, the way that he's evolved a little bit, this is his first year with a positive run differential, and his percentage fielding wise, this is the best year of his career. At the plate, yes, the power has been an issue, and yes, the RBIs have been down, but you also have to look at who's surrounding him as well. If Rafael Devers isn't driving these guys in, there's no one on base for Xander to do any damage with, and that's been the problem this year, not Xander Bogaerts' approach. And that's just my opinion. Again, everyone has their opinions on Xander Bogaerts, but this guy is a cornerstone player for the Boston Red Sox, and in my opinion, it will hurt a little bit more than the Mookie one, because in Mookie's case, they simply didn't have the money to pay him. He wanted way more than the Red Sox could afford. This one just means that they don't want Xander. They have the ability to re-sign him 100%, and they just simply don't want to in this scenario. The other scary thought about this scenario is that, does it put Rafael Devers on the trading block? We know that Devers and Xander are close, so whether or not the departure or non-departure of Xander Bogaerts will affect the ability to re-sign Devers is definitely a factor you have to consider as well. It doesn't seem as likely that Devers will get traded as some of these other guys, but at the same time, right, if the Red Sox don't want to pay their big-time homegrown free agent talent, maybe Rafael Devers ends up on that chopping block as well, which is another terrifying thought. I will always wonder, regardless of how the season goes and regardless of whether or not we actually do retain Bogey and Rafi, if their conversations about their extensions that happened right before the season started, that neither of them went well, I will always wonder if that had an effect on this Red Sox team in 2022. And this is a wildly frustrating scenario because the Red Sox had shot themselves in the foot, essentially, right? You built this momentum up in June just to come crashing down in July. You fought back from adversity. You fought back from having one of the most injuries in all of baseball in June, and you still managed to make your way up to second place and solidify a spot in a wild card game, and then it comes crashing down on your head. This team is not out of contention as much as it feels like they may be. We are 2 games out of a wild card spot, which kind of sucks. We were in a really great spot at the beginning of June, but we're also not out of this, right? We're not 5, 6, 7 games back. We're not trying to battle back to 500. We are still in contention here, which leads me to my second scenario. The All-Star break is exactly what this Red Sox team needs. Chris Sale injury only motivates this team to fight harder, and they see their backs against the wall and they decide to fight back. You're getting, after the All-Star break, the injuries that happened in the last couple of weeks start to rebuild themselves. You start to get Trevor Story back, Matt Strahm back, Michael Wacha back, Rich Hill back, Christian Arroyo back, and those are just guys off the top of my head. The reinforcements come in and they do what they need to do to liven this team up. This team also gets a break mentally and physically. Mentally, these guys have been going for 17 straight games. That is a lot, and they've also been knocked down a ton in these last 17 days. There is no way that all these mental errors, all these bonehead plays are not affecting this team mentally, and maybe the All-Star break is just what this team needs. Not to mention the wear and tear that it would put on the guys who are healthy last 17 games in a row, right? If you are playing 17 games in a row as hard as you can and trying to battle your way back from this skid that they have gone on, that's a lot to take in physically. These guys are hurting, they need a day off, and maybe that's exactly what this All-Star break will give them. Maybe it's a combination of the two, right? Maybe the fact that you're getting these reinforcements reinforcements back, combined with the fact that you're getting a nice little break here, allows the Red Sox to come out swinging in the second half. They have a dominant performance against the Blue Jays. They take care of the Guardian. They win a series against the Brewers, and all of a sudden by the deadline, you're back in a playoff spot, whether that be the third place, second place, or first place. You are in contention once again. Now the trade deadline comes up, and maybe they don't make the moves that we want them to make, right? The big moves, the splash to really rejuvenate this team, but at the same time, they get the guys they need to get. They get a relief arm to help out this bullpen that helps out Strom, Whitlock, Houck, Schreiber, Davis, right? We start to build up these mass amount of reliable guys in this bullpen. Then you add in a first baseman, and maybe it's not the big splash you need, but it's a guy who doesn't make a ton of mental errors and a guy that can get on base, and that rejuvenates this team. And now they're running full steam ahead. These reinforcements brighten spirits, and it gives the guys a sense of hope that the front office believes in this team in 2022 to win a championship, and that lights a fire under their asses. Right now, I don't know which scenario I expect coming out of this All-Star break, to be honest with you. Maybe it's a combination of both scenarios, right? Maybe the Red Sox do a little bit of selling, but also a little bit of buying at the deadline. Maybe this Chris Sale stuff actually works out and he can come back towards the end of the year, and that is something that the Red Sox use as fuel and motivation. Maybe there's somewhere in these middle grounds, but to me, it feels like these two scenarios are the ones that are most likely going to happen, one or the other. And that's kind of up for you guys to decide which one you expect to happen. I'm not going to blame anyone who right now has their back turned to this Red Sox team, because they've given you plenty of reasons to do that. For me, I am once again going to stay positive, and I know you guys at this point are probably like, Corbin, this is just blind loyalty. This is ignorant. You are not doing your job as a content creator to be a middle ground guy. But regardless, I'm refusing to give up on this team yet. As a younger Red Sox fan, I never knew the crushing sensation of getting closer and closer and closer just to get your hopes smashed down years and years and years. I don't have that experience, but what I can say, as long as I've been a Red Sox fan, the Red Sox have been with their backs up against the wall multiple times. And yes, those are different teams in different situations, but at the same time, I've seen this team face failure straight in the face and fight back and decide that they are going to overcome it. And that is what I want for this Red Sox team. I will stick with this team until curtain calls. And whether that curtain is by this team itself, or if that curtain's by the front office, or if that curtain is by just pure baseball god unluckiness, or by this division, I don't care. I'm staying with this team. You guys know I try very, very hard to be as unbiased as I can when I come out with these reviews, when I come out with news about the Red Sox. I try to stick to numbers and what this could mean for the Red Sox and leave things open-ended. I'm still gonna try and do that. Maybe this team right now needs a little bias. Let me know in the comment section down below which side of the equation you're on. I'm expecting to get torched here. I'm expecting to get told I'm an idiot. I'm expecting to get told I know nothing. So let me know down in the comments down below, what is your opinion on everything that is going on right now? If you've made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, like I said, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day, so don't be afraid to hit that button. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button on these videos as well. It helps it out a ton and would mean a lot to me. If you could do me a favor and share this video with a friend or family member who loves the Red Sox as much as you do, so you guys can go back and forth about which scenario you want to. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.